اللهم صل على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما صليت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم إنك حميد مجيد. اللهم بارك على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما باركت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم إنك حميد مجيد. رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقه قولي. بسم الله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله. Apologies for the technical issues there, but we can get the session started. What I want to go over in this session is to solidify the concept of masculine sound plurals, or regular plurals, you can call it. And then I'll introduce you to a new concept of the feminine sound plural. And also apologies for the session last time. I thought I was sharing a certain screen, and apparently it was sharing a different screen. I was talking about something else. But when I watched the video again, in all honesty, I don't think I was saying anything beyond anything that you knew anyway. But we'll go over that again. It was literally the consolidated notes that I was supposed to share last time, but we can share it now. Okay, hopefully you can see the screen this time. And what I was saying last time is we're going to put harf over here, and you know the definition. It's a word that makes no sense unless there's another word after it. So things like of, about, in, etc. And we have fi'l here. A word is an action word that is stuck in a tense. So it could be in the past, present, or future. What we're concentrating on is ism, person, place, thing, idea, adjectives, adverbs, and more. And I don't need to write that because we've been over that so many times. It's a very comprehensive subject, and we know there's 4 components of ism. Number 1, status, and that's what we're concentrating on. I'll put gender and type here because that's in the background at the moment. But status and number is what we're concentrating on. For status, we know there are 3 types: rafa', nasab, and jar. We've been over that many times. How would you recognize the rafa', nasab, and jar? Well, first of all, let's find out what the function of each are. The rafa' is the doer, the nasab is the detail of a sentence, and jar is the after of. We then looked at something called ending sound. So I'll put yes here. In order to identify what's rafa' and nasab and jar in Arabic, for an ism, you have to look at the ending sound. And for rafa', it would have to be an un sound or an u. For nasab, it would have to be an un sound or an a. And for jar, it has to be an in sound or an e. And then we looked at something called ending combinations. And we split that into 2. One is the pair, in which we learned that it's not enough to just look at the ending sound of the ism word. You have to look at the last 2 letters and see what it is in that sense. So ending combination would be ani for rafa', aini for nasab, and aini for jar. The first one is singular. The second row is a pair. And then there's another type of ending combination where we touched on in the last lesson of plurals. And the ending combination for that was una, ina, ina. So there's 2 types of ending combination and one row for ending sound. For ending sound, the ending is un or un, an or a, in or e. We also had an acronym for that, ru, na, g, just to help you remember. So that's singular. And in ending combination, we had ani, aini, aini, una, ina, ina for plural. Ani, aini, aini is pair, una, ina, ina is plural. What does that mean when it comes to the Muslim chart? If I was to write Muslim chart, immediately you should know what that means, because you just apply the word Muslim to this table. So what is Muslim? What's one singular Muslim rafa'? Muslimun. Musliman is the nasab version singular. And Muslimin is the jar version singular. You could also say Muslimu, Muslima, Muslimi. What's two Muslims? Rafa. It's Muslimani. Muslimani. Two Muslims jar. Muslimaini. Sorry, two Muslim nasab. Muslimaini. And two Muslim jar. Muslimaini also. Three or more Muslims. Rafa. Muslimuna. Three or more Muslims nasab. Muslimina. And three or more Muslims jar. Muslimina. So I hope that's clear. And then you can replace the word Muslim to other words like rajulun. Rajulun, rajulan, rajulin is your singular. Rajulani, rajulaini, rajulaini is your pair. And this is actually a good time to mention the broken plural. I alluded to it last time. Is a broken plural has an ending sound. So now that's the other layer of ending sound that we learned. So we didn't go into that in detail, and I don't want to do that in absolute detail, but I would need to mention, we would need to add this to the process. And what is the process? Process to finding out the status and number of a word. So now we've also got number into play. There's an overlap because we're looking at singular, pairs, and plurals, and that's to do with number. Singular is 1, pair is 2, plural is 3 or more. What's the process? We said process, always, number 1, always look for ending combinations first, exclamation mark. Why? Because if you look at the word Muslimaini, for example, if you only looked at the ending sound, you would get an E sound and you might think mistaken it for a jar, singular. That's why you need to look at the ending combination first. Or you might look at the word Muslimina and you might see the fatha and you might think, oh, okay, it's nasab, ending sound, but it's not. So always look for the ending combination first of a word. And then if it is an ending combination, you can distinguish with whether it's a pair or a plural. And if it's not an ending combination, that leaves you with ending sound. So we got up to here. And now there's a third process to this, is the third step is, now that you know it's an ending sound, it could be a singular, or now you know it could be a broken plural. So a singular or a broken plural. What's a broken plural? I gave you examples. Mouse is mice. Teeth, tooth is teeth. You don't just add the regular S on the end for English. So man is men. So those are English examples of broken plurals. So in Arabic, you have the same. And broken plurals also have ending sounds. So it will also be un, an, or in, or u, or e. Now, how do you know if it's a broken plural then? Because up until now, you said if it's an un, or in, it's a singular, but not necessarily. How do you know if it's broken plural? Well, unfortunately, you don't, unless if it's by meaning. You know the meaning. If you know the meaning, then you know you can just work it out as a broken plural. So we looked at the example word last time, which I'll share my screen. So if you go to, I think it was lesson 6 handouts. Or was it lesson 5? Lesson 6, I think. Yeah, lesson 6, you should be able to see this. And we looked at the third example. Okay, qasas al-qasasu. If you do the process, ending combination first. Does it have an ani ending for rafa? No. Does it have an aini ending for nasab combination? No. Does it have an aini ending for jar pair combination? No. So we know it's not a pair. We then look at the plurals. Does it have una ending? No. Does it have ina ending? No. Does it have ina ending? No. So we know it's not a regular plural. We know it's not a pair. So that leaves us with ending sound. Now previously we've said ending sounds are singular. However, now we're saying there's an added added dimension to this, that they could be a broken plural, because broken plurals are also ending sounds. So how do we know if it's a broken plural or if it's a singular? Well, at least we know it's a rafa because it's an u sound, but we still don't know if it's a singular yet. But if we look at the meaning, stories, stories is a regular plural in English. I mean, story is the singular, stories is the plural in English. So we know it's plural by meaning. Therefore, it's plural by meaning, and it doesn't have a regular ending combination ending. So therefore, you have to assume that it's a broken plural, and that's how you know. That's how you distinguish between a broken plural and a singular. Another example could be rajulun. So rajulun is one man. Rajulani is two man, rafa, but you don't get rajuluna. There's no such thing as rajuluna. It's rijalun. So I think we left it there last time. Let's look at the next word. So we're looking at the masculine regular plural at this moment in time. And this qasasu is just a side point. It's a bit of a trick question, you could say, but it was a good point to introduce the concept of broken plurals. On to the next one, salihuna. So salihuna, let's start with the process again, ending combination. So now we know there's two types of ending combinations. So let's start with the pair. If it was a pair, what would it be? Let's use the word Muslim. A Muslim ending combination pair is Muslimani for rafa, Muslimaini for nasab, Muslimaini for jar. Let's substitute that for this word. Does it say salihani? It doesn't have an ani ending, but if it did, it would be salihani. If it was a nasab pair, it would be salihaini. If it was a jar pair, it would be salihaini, but it seems to have an una ending. So salihuna, it's an ending combination, and it's a regular masculine plural. It means righteous. So salihuna is rafa, and it's a plural. What are the nasab and jar versions? So let's flex it. It would be salihina, it would be the nasab plural, regular plural, masculine, and salihina for jar, regular plural. Ajran, ajran, ajran. Let's do it without the process this time. We know it's an, or in is the singular, or could be singular because now we've got an added dimension to ending sound. So we know it's an ending sound. We know it's an unsound. So un is rafa, un is nasab. Remember the runaji. Now we need to know if it's a singular or broken plural. But you can only know that through meaning. So what's the meaning? Reward. Reward. So it seems like a singular. So therefore, it's nasab and one in singular. Okay, same concept here. Let's go through these. Aziman, aziman. Ending combination. Does it have an ani, aini ending? No. Una, ina ending. Doesn't have that. It's just un. So un is rafa. Azimun would have been rafa. And aziman is nasab. And what would it be jar? Azimin. It means mighty. So an un is a nasab. It would have been a detail if it was within a sentence. And nasab, and it's one. Hafidhina, hafidhina. Let's go through the combination pairs. Hafidhani, ani ending. Hafidhaini is not aini ending. It's an ina ending. So remember that subtlety. There's a difference between aini and ina. And the jar pair would be an ina ending. So it's none of the, aini ending. None of those. Hafidhuna would have been the rafa version plural. It's not that. What's the plural nasab? Ina, remember? So hafidhina, hafidhina. It's an ending combination. So we know it's not an ending sound. It's not an ending pair. Now it's an ending combination. Ina, it could be nasab or jar. It means guardians. Nasab or jar, and it's a plural. Jannataini, jannataini. We looked at the ayah a couple of lessons back. وَلِمَنْ خَافَ مَقَامَ رَبِّهِ جَنَّتَانِ. Jannatani. That was an ani ending. That was rafa. Ani is a pair. It's a combination. What's the mistake we can make if we go straight for ending sound? We will look at that and we think, oh, it's jar. But that's not necessarily true. Because if it was rafa, it would have been jannatani. If it's nasab, it's jannataini. So that's your match. And if it's jar, it could be jannataini. So therefore, gardens is the meaning, and it could be nasab or jar. If we look at it on ending combination, if you went straight to an ending sound, you would have thought it was jar only, but that's not necessarily true. So it's pair. Munzirina, munzirina. What's the ending combination or sound? If it's a combination, it's got a ina ending, ina ending. So what's the pair? Ani, aini, aini. Munzarani, munzaraini, munzaraini. Sorry, munzirani, munziraini, munziraini. None of those things, right? Plural, munziruna. It's not una. If it was, it would have been rafa. Munzirina, munzirina. Ina, ina. So it's nasab or jar again. It means warners, and it's a plural, a regular plural. Walidani, walidani. What's the rafa plural? What's the rafa pair version? Walidani. That's your match straight away. So you've got your ending combination. Ani ending, it's your rafa. It means parents, and it's 2 in number. Okay, so I hope that practice helps. Is there another exercise? Yes, we've got 3 more words. Mukramina, mukramina. Let's follow through the process. Number 1, ending combination pair. Ani, aini, aini. Ani, aini. And I won't write aini again. Does it have ani? Is it mukrimani? No. Is it mukrimaini? No. Mukramina is different to mukramaini. Is it mukramaini? No. So therefore, it could be, let's look at the ending plural. Una, ina, ina. Mukramina, so it's not una. Mukramina. Ina is your match. It means honored ones, and it could be nasab or jar. And the number is plural, so 3 or more. Qalbayni. Qalbayni. What's the rafa version of pair? Muslimani. Qalbani. Ani ending? Nope. Qalbayni. Ani, aini, aini. So yeah, that's your match. Aini. It means hearts. It means it's the nasab or jar. Qalbani is the rafa. Qalbayni is the nasab. Qalbayni is the jar. And it's 2 or number. Sabiruna. Sabiruna. Let's start with the pair. Ani, sabirani. Doesn't have that. Sabiraini. Sabiraini. It's not that, so we can rule out the pair. Plural is the una, ina ending. So sabiruna, una ending. So we've got our match. It's rafa. It means patient ones, and it's a plural. So I hope those drills have really helped with the process. Like I said before, I'd rather you get the answer wrong sometimes and get the process right, as opposed to flukily getting the answer right and then getting the process wrong. Because if you get the process right, it's only a matter of time before you keep on getting the answers right all the time. So now this leads us on to memorization. And we're just simply going to memorize this chart. And there's nothing to be daunted about because you already know it. You already know it. I could have just given you this in lesson 1 and said, here's a chart, go memorize it, come back to me when you've done it, and then we could just go on to the next thing. But we went through it in detail. We went through it from the root, and we looked at the function of each status, and then we built a picture, and then we put a process together to determine the answer for each drill that we come across whenever we want to analyze an ism and its status and number. So really, this chart just summarizes whatever you know anyway. So we've been through this anyway. But right now, this is the first time you've seen it visually in this manner. So I want you to visualize this chart and say it 2 times with me. So we're going to go over the rafa, nasab, jar, singular, then the dual version and the plural of all the rafa, nasab, and jar. So let's start here. Let's say it together. Muslimun, musliman, muslimin. That's your rafa, nasab, jar. Muslimani, muslimaini, muslimaini. That's your rafa, nasab, jar, pair. Muslimuna, muslimina, muslimina. That's your rafa, nasab, jar, plural. So I want you to memorize this while you already know it, but to kind of say it in a way where there's no hiccups, there's no stopping. It's just smooth, nice and smooth. Muslimun, musliman, muslimin, muslimani, muslimaini, muslimaini, muslimuna, muslimina, muslimina. We are now calling this the masculine Muslim chart. And now the reason why we call this masculine is because the feminine chart is slightly different. This is now overlapping with gender. So we can now bring gender into play in our brief notes. Okay, so let's just say it one more time. Muslimun, musliman, muslimin, muslimani, muslimaini, muslimaini, muslimuna, muslimina, muslimina. Now we're going to go over the feminine version, and then we're going to go into more detail when I introduce the concept of feminine plural. But let's just introduce the chart from now. And it's the same. If you look at it, it's not, I wouldn't look at it in the sense that you need to memorize a second chart. Really, it's just a variation of the first chart. That's really what it is. And the only, what variation can you see? You see this small dot at the end. It's like a ribbon dot with 2 dots. That's called a da marbuta. When you see that on an ism word, then you can pretty much say it's a feminine. I'm not going to say it's always going to be feminine, but for now, you can just assume they are going to be feminine. So if we take a look at the Muslim word, so Muslimun is the masculine, Muslimatun is rafa, feminine, singular. You can also say Muslimah. So you've probably heard the word Muslimah. The reason why it's Muslimah is because, this small da, the da marbuta, you can also pronounce it. If you were to put a stop, you pronounce it as a ha. But when we're saying the whole thing fully at the moment, this moment in time, so we're saying Muslimatun. Muslimatun is the feminine singular version. Muslimun is the masculine version of that. And thereafter, it's just the same concept. It's still un and an in. Un and in fujar. So Muslimatun, Muslimatan, Muslimatin. Muslimatun, Muslimatan, Muslimatin. I want you to say that. Muslimatun, Muslimatan, Muslimatin. Now, if you look at the pair version, what's the distinction between this and the masculine version? So this is now 2 Muslim women, 2 Muslim ladies. Muslimatani. What's the 2 Muslim men? Muslimani. 2 Muslim masculine is Muslimani. 2 Muslim feminine is Muslimatani. What do you think the distinction is? Is that it's an extra da on there. So that instead of ani, it's dani. So let's write this down. Ending sound. This is feminine. We're going to put rafa is dun, dun, din. Rafa nasab jar, and then ending combination pair is dani, daini, daini. Ending combination plural feminine now. Muslimatun. So this goes against the pattern a bit. So in the masculine plural, it was muslimuna. So feminine plural, it's not muslimatuna. It doesn't work like that. It's just an atun ending. So muslimatun, yeah, muslimatin nasab, muslimatin jar. So the nasab and jar versions are still the same, but the ending combination for feminine plural is atun, atin, atin. Whereas for masculine, it was una, ina, ina. So let's write that down. A, dun, a, din, a, din. So I want you to practice this chart as well. In the next lesson, we're going to go through the feminine plurals in more detail. But for now, just remember this chart. The first chart you know very well by now, the Muslimun masculine chart. Muslimun, Musliman, Muslimin, Muslimani, Muslimaini, Muslimaini, Muslimuna, Muslimina, Muslimina. The feminine version of that chart is pretty much the same, except instead of Muslimun, it's Muslimatun, Muslimatan, Muslimatin. So the singular and pair is easy. Muslimatani, Muslimataini, Muslimataini. The only thing you really need to remember from scratch on this chart is the feminine plural. And you just need to remember it's atun, atin, atin. Muslimatun, muslimatin, muslimatin. And it's the same process. You look for ending combinations first. You look for ending combinations first, and if it matches an ending combination, you go with that. And if it doesn't, then you know it's an ending sound. And if it's an ending sound, it could be a singular or a broken plural. And you don't know if it's a broken plural unless you know the meaning. So I want you to memorize that. We've got 2 or maybe a few minutes left. I think that's the end of the lesson 6. Maybe let's just switch over to the ayat. Okay, let's try and find some masculine or feminine words. So what do you think if I was to circle this word here? I said a clue for knowing a feminine word is if you look at if there's a ta marbuta, this small type of ta here, and that's a big clue that it's a feminine. So you can say that's feminine. What status do you think it is? Rafa', nasab, or jar? First of all, let's try and find the number. And the way to do that is by looking at ending combinations, because ending combinations are either pairs or plurals. So does it have an so the masculine version is ani, aini, aini, una, ina, ina. We know this word isn't even masculine, so it's feminine. So we're looking for, let's write it here. Dani, or daini, or atun, or atin. These are the ending combinations for female, feminine. It's none of these things. It's not fidyatani, fidyataini, fidyataini, or fidyatun, fidyatin, fidyatin. It's not any of those things. So it's a ending sound, and it has an un ending. So that is a rafa. What number is it though? You can only know if it's 1 or plural, broken plural, if you look at the meaning. So fidya, fidyatun, it's like means a substitute, so there's no sign of it being a plural. So that's what it means. So we just say it's singular. So it's 1 in number. So it's feminine, rafa, and 1. So that's your number. That's your status. And that's now your gender. So we're looking at the third component of an ism is gender. So we've done status, number, and gender now. Let's do maybe one more example. Okay. Let's do this. This is an easy one, but I want you to follow the process. First of all, we know it's an ism because it's an al. So ash-shahra, ash-shahra. Let's go through the ending combinations. Ash-shahrani, ash-shahraini, ash-shahraini. That's the rafa' nasab jar pair. Ash-shahruna, ash-shahrina, ash-shahrina is not the plural. Therefore, it's an ending sound. Ash-shahrun, ash-shahran, ash-shahrin. What does it match? Or it could be ash-shahru, ash-shahra, ash-shahri. It seems to match ash-shahra. So therefore, it's a nasab. Nasab in status. Any sign of it being a feminine? No, it doesn't have that ta marbuta at the end. So there's no sign of it being feminine, so we just stick to masculine. Because that's your Muslim chart, Muslimun, Musliman, Muslimin, Shahrun, Shahran, Shahrin, or Shahru, Shahra, Shahri. So it's masculine, and it's 1 in number, because it means months. And you would know, there's no other way of finding out if it's a plural, broken plural, if you don't know the meaning. So I'm telling you the meaning is month. It doesn't say months, so there's no sign of it being a broken plural. So therefore it's 1 in number. So I hope that's good practice. Please memorize the charts. Let's just go through one more time. Masculine and feminine from the top. Muslimun, Musliman, Muslimin, Muslimani, Muslimaini, Muslimaini, Muslimuna, Muslimina, Muslimina. And now we've added a feminine version to it. Muslimatun, Muslimatan, Muslimatin, Muslimatani, Muslimataini, Muslimataini, Muslimatun, Muslimatin, Muslimatin. Memorize that, try and instill it in your mind for next session. And then in next session, we'll look at in detail the feminine sound plurals. بارك الله لي ولكم في القرآن الحكيم ونفعني وإياكم بالآيات والذكر الحكيم. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.